Nobody asked, but video games are a form of entertainment. And the thing about entertainment is, while sometimes entertainment can be very artistic or practical, 99% of the time, at its core, entertainment is just supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be fun. When companies announce new games or consoles, they can talk about specs and features, and fans can theorize and speculate about plot points. But at the end of the day, the inherent promise from the developers is that the game or console will be entertaining, and the expectation of fans is that it will be entertaining. And while we've seen a significant rise in quality in a lot of games over the last several years, I think we've also seen a record high in disappointment in the gaming community, which when you think about it, should be a little surprising. We as fans have more options and variety for gaming than ever before, and games have advanced far beyond what fans and developers could even dream of as recent as 20 years ago. So why then in this rapidly evolving genre of entertainment is there so much disappointment? I think the reason why comes down to perspective in two ways. Let me explain. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about bad games here. There's always going to be bad games. There's going to be games that are overhyped by developers or companies or whatever, and they're going to release and they're just going to be bad. And that's disappointing, but that's not what I'm really talking about in this video. I'm talking about ways that I think we can minimize our disappointment from our end, the gamer's perspective. The first thing I think is a major contributor to disappointment is I think oftentimes our expectations don't line up with reality. We are gamers for the games, and that's what we're here for. I think too many people make the mistake of thinking the people that make the games are also here for the games, and they're just not. They're here to make money. Now you might think, well, that doesn't matter because if they make better games, they'll sell more games, so everyone should want to make the best possible games, right? But this isn't always the case. The first example I'm going to use is the console war between Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I think a lot of people went into the release of these consoles as if Sony and Microsoft were championship boxers, two athletes at the top of their field training and doing everything in their power to defeat the other, and that's just not the case. Business isn't sports. One company doesn't necessarily win and make more money by being better. In fact, I believe Xbox lost the console war because they weren't trying to win. Look at Microsoft. Look at everything they've got going on. They don't need to have the best console on the market. That's a little side project compared to what makes them the real big bucks. Now Sony, on the other hand, look at them. They have PlayStation, expensive TVs, and Spider-Man. Okay, really just those last two things. Sony has a way larger chunk of its profits coming from PlayStation than Microsoft does Xbox. So the analogy of the championship boxers just doesn't really work. It's more like if Microsoft sent their just okay boxer out into the ring and Sony sent the best that they've got. Who you think's gonna win? The one actually trying to win here. Why does this matter? Well, if you were a big Xbox fan hoping for a new console that, I don't know, had some cool exclusives or a decent user interface, you were probably pretty disappointed by the Xbox VCR. But maybe you wouldn't have been as disappointed had you looked at the situation from this perspective. There's nothing wrong with liking the Xbox. I'm not saying you have to dislike the Xbox or like it. I'm just saying if you looked at the broader context of that situation, maybe your expectations would have lined up a little bit more with reality, and whether you love it or hate it, maybe you would have enjoyed the Xbox a little bit more had you paid a little more attention. One more recent example of this type of situation, have you ever heard of Pokemon? A lot of people were out here thinking Pokemon Sword and Shield was gonna be the Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild of pocket monsters, but that's not how Pokemon makes money. They make their money from stuffies. Games and TV shows are whatever to them. So why would they pour a bunch of money into trying something new that might sell when they could put almost no money into the same old thing and definitely sell, and definitely pop out some more cards and plushies to go with the new game, and definitely still do well because kids love Pokemon? It's not wrong for gamers to want things or have expectation. I just think there's a lot of unnecessary disappointment in the gaming community, not due to a total failure on the developer side, but due to a lack of paying attention by the gamers. Another example, Valve. Since the dawn of time, people have wanted Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 3, and obviously the most important one, Fortnite 3. But here's the thing. Valve has Steam. They have almost nothing to gain from making games because they have that Steam money. Making games is pretty much just a risk by pouring assets into a development team for a game that might sell and meet expectations, or they can just keep Steam turned on and rake in the profits from that. So it really doesn't make a ton of sense for Valve to make new games. It would take a very specific situation to even incentivize them to try. Uh-oh, it's the I'm wrong alarm. But nobody asked, you're asking, ironically, what about Half-Life Alyx? That's basically Half-Life 3, and they're making it, so it'll definitely be good, right? Well, okay, let's look at the game. They're not calling it Half-Life 3. It seems to be a spin-off of the main series. It's a VR game, and holy smokes, look at those system requirements. Some people are probably wondering, why are they making their game so inaccessible? This is what I think is happening. Valve doesn't really see this as a game. They see it as a tech demo. The system requirements are so intense because they're trying to create the next level of VR, which if they pull it off is very valuable, ergo money, ergo incentive to make the game. Why Half-Life then? Because naming their tech demo Half-Life ensures enough people will be interested that they'll see some return on investment in sales, but more importantly, it ensures that enough people are going to play it to see if their next level stuff works and is popular enough for them to patent and sell rights to Facebook. I think when Half-Life Alyx releases, it's gonna be a good game. Whatever they think is gonna make it next level might be awesome, it might not, I don't know, but something I do predict some disappointment in is the story. Valve has almost nothing to gain or lose by making the story amazing. By not naming it Half-Life 3, they can dismiss it as a side story if fans are mad, and they'll still have accomplished their goal of figuring out if they can revolutionize VR or not. If I had to make a guess, right now I can see a lot of YouTubers saying things along the lines of, after waiting so long for Half-Life 3 while the gameplay is new and innovative, I just expected more from the story. Again, the game doesn't even come out till March. You're allowed to like it, you're allowed to dislike it, but I feel like if you're sitting at home ready for the next chapter of Half-Life and ready to be blown away by a story, you're just gonna end up disappointed when the actual game releases. So I would encourage you not to get your hopes up on the story side of things and try to see Half-Life Alyx more for what Valve probably sees it to be. A tech demo. Because even if you love the story of Half-Life, if you go into Half-Life Alyx not expecting that great of a story, if the story's awesome, awesome, but if not, you probably still have a pretty fun game to play and you're not going to be sitting there bitter about the first sequel to one of your favorite franchises in a decade. That's the first key factor to self-inflicted disappointment, I think, the lack of business context. The second key factor is not business context, but a social one. And while I think disappointment can come from a lack of business context, I think it can also come from having a little too much social context. Nowadays, when you play a new game, your first time playing it is rarely your first impression of the game. You've seen some gameplay, you've heard your friends talk about it, you've seen some reviews, you've seen Donkey tear it to pieces. You rarely get to go in blind, and I think that's a huge disadvantage. I know this sounds a little hypocritical, but trust me, there's a big difference in the information given by a company about their game that they made versus someone who played the game and is sharing their opinions. And we're not necessarily talking about the quality of the game or trying to find a high quality game. We're talking about trying to avoid disappointment. And for that purpose, these are two very distinct sets of information, and that's why I think it's worth talking about. Y'all already know social media tends to be a very negative atmosphere. That's nothing new. You do not need me to sit here and tell you, hey, did you know Twitter's a little bit toxic? Wow, who would have known? And that certainly doesn't help things, but I think even more intellectual, targeted negativity or criticism can cause disappointments too. I have reviewers I like to follow, mostly for movies, but a few for games too. And the one thing I've noticed is because reviewers are reviewers and critics, they're exposed to a lot more media and are used to intentionally looking for things to critique. You might play a game and not notice some flaws, but those critics do. And once they've pointed them out to you, then you can't unsee them. And this can happen even with positive reviews. Honestly, the wave of perfect scores and glowing reviews for Red Dead 2 made me want to give it a try, only to be really disappointed at how clunky and monotonous the actual gameplay was. I thought, okay, I see the story here, but why in the world is this a 10 out of 10? Good grief. I'll give y'all one more personal example. When No Man's Sky launched, I didn't know anything about the game except that my best friend was getting it and he said it looked fun and I should get it too. I did, and it opened with my guy on a planet and a downed ship, and I had to figure out how to find parts and get off the planet and make money, and gosh dang, I had so much fun that summer playing No Man's Sky. I would FaceTime audio my buddy and we'd just play and talk for hours about all the cool stuff we were finding. It was great. And then I went on the internet, and holy cow, y'all already know people were mad. They were furious that this game existed because the developers lied and it was supposed to be this and that, and all this stuff wasn't in the game. And to be fair, there were apparently a lot of promised things that were not in the game, and people shouldn't lie to people. That's not okay either. But man, was I still enjoying the game. The point I'm trying to make is that I don't think I would have enjoyed the game nearly as much if I let the internet and critics and angry fans flood my mind with negative first impressions before playing the game. You could say, oh, but you buying it supported developers that lied about the game. But you know what, dude? If you refuse to buy things made by people that did bad things, you're gonna end up hungry, in an empty house, and naked, because have you seen the clothing industry? My gosh. Everyone does bad things. The No Man's Sky guy's not a child murderer. It's not the end of the world that I bought his game. Is it really the end of the world if I liked No Man's Sky? I don't think so. And it's okay if you love Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's okay if you love Jedi Fallen Order and don't mind the bugs. I would argue enjoying these flawed products is better than letting the internet bog you down to the point where you're just sad, disappointed, and not playing video games. Wouldn't you rather be playing games that you enjoy rather than sitting and moping about games you're not playing because you don't want to play them? The former sounds far more fun to me and kind of the purpose of video games in the first place. Oh my gosh, okay. I need to calm down. So, what's my point with this video? Well, to be honest, I don't really know. I'm not trying to tell you gaming culture's a lie and it's all just business. I think there are people out there making games because they love games, and I'm not trying to get you to delete your Twitter and unsubscribe from all the critics you follow. I think it's good and even enjoyable to hear other people's point of view. I'm not even claiming to have come up with a perfect system, because if I had listened to my own advice in the first half of this video, I would have been just as upset at No Man's Sky as everyone else was. So, what is this video? This video is titled Disappointment in Gaming, and disappointment is something quite unpleasant, and unfortunately it's also largely unavoidable. I just think there's a couple ways we can cut down on it a little bit. I think if we maybe just paid a little more attention to the games we like and understand what games are going to be, we won't be disappointed because we were blind fans expecting one thing and getting another. I think if there's a game coming out that we're confident we're going to like, we're already sold on it, maybe we should try a little harder to go in and just try it for ourselves before we're bombarded by Twitter and YouTube and friend recommendations and critics. There's always going to be disappointments in the gaming community, but I think if we can cut down on the disappointments we're just walking into, I think we'll enjoy games more. I think it'll be more fun. Why do I care? Well, these past 6 months making videos have been really fun, and I've been trying to figure out why I enjoy making them so much and what I want to do with them. I think I want my videos to spread some much needed positivity in the gaming community. I don't want to seek out bad games just to bash them. I want to play games and have fun interacting with you all. I want to play games you recommend for me in the comments. I want to review new releases without bashing or being overly negative, just being objective and honest about the quality of games so I can help you figure out what games you want to play if you want my help with that. So that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be positive, I'm going to be patient and slow to anger towards games and any fans who may stumble across my channel. I'm going to find things outside my preferences and comfort circle and give them fair shakes and try to learn what people love about them. I'm going to make fun, lighthearted gameplay videos so hopefully y'all can watch and laugh with me. So I guess now you have this all to look forward to in the coming months. Thank you for those of you that have been watching these videos. I've gotten a lot of great feedback and I have some great ideas for upcoming videos. All I'm going to ask from y'all for now is that if you have any friends or people you think would enjoy my content, maybe send them a vid or two. I'm not going to ask you to spam your Facebook news feed, but you know, if you know someone who you think would like these videos, be a good friend and let them know they exist, you know? And a couple more things. One, as you can probably guess by how long it's taken me to upload, is I don't think it'd be smart of me to try to continue the weekly schedule. I'm not really happy with the quality of content that I just kind of started pumping out, especially those last few weeks in November and December before I took a break. I enjoy it more, and I think y'all do too, when I put a little more time into writing, editing, gameplay, things like that. I think it makes for better videos overall, and I think that's more important than pumping one out every week. So, how often are you going to get vids on this channel? Honestly, I'm not sure, but the one thing I'm really going to work towards is I don't want to get lazy with this. I don't want to fall off the beaten path. I do want to keep working, and when there's times like this where there's a long time in between videos, I want y'all to know it's because I'm working on something and trying to make it better and trying to grow and make something different and better that y'all will enjoy. I hope every video I make is shows a little bit of growth and is a little bit better than the last one. The other thing I'd like to ask is for some recommendations. I would really love to do a viewer request special. Hudson asked for getting over it on one of the videos a month or two ago, so I'm definitely got to throw that one in there, but I need some more games to play. So if you want to leave me a comment of some games you'd like to see in a viewer request special, then that would mean a lot to me, and I'd really like to get that video done. So for now, I hope, if nothing else, I've given you something to think about. I hope you decide to stick around with this channel. I hope you're not too upset that it's not going to be every week anymore, but I think over time you won't be. I hope over time you can look at the types of videos I put out and really see the quality go up. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.